Today we are with our friends at Driscoll's Berries. Honestly, just my favorite. This has been sustaining me while I've been at home. What we're going to make today is this really awesome one bowl vegan banana bread from Corey Taylor at the Vegan Six. It's a super simple recipe, and the fact that it's vegan is kind of one of my favorites. The key part about vegan baking is it doesn't use up my eggs, it doesn't use up my butter, which I can save for other things. So I kind of have gotten really into trying out a lot of those recipes. So I'm going to walk you through this one bowl vegan blackberry banana bread. To get started, I will just tell you what we have going on. Obviously, a 6-ounce container of Driscoll's Blackberries. I'm using organic just because they're just super lovely and plump, and like, look how just gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful. 1/4 cup of almond milk. You could use any non-dairy milk. I love almond, I love oat. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add in a 1/2 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and this is going to help just get it almost like we're making like fake buttermilk. I'm gonna give that a little splash, and it kind of helps, it almost curdles the nut milk and thickens it up, which is going to react well with our leaveners, baking powder and baking soda. Then I'm going to take 4 bananas, another staple in my kitchen right now. We are going to mash 3 of them, and then 1 of them we are just going to slice for the top. I'm gonna take the one with the best curve, just because that's gonna be the prettiest. So for the other 3 bananas, I'm just going to pop them right into my one bowl. Again, you want your bananas pretty like brown. These could have even gone like another day or 2. You wanna start to see these spots. The spots are super, super, super important, because that's how you know the sugars have begun to caramelize, and you get like this really, really, really nice sweet bread versus it being overly starchy. So I'm just going to take a fork and mash it up. You could also use a potato masher. That's like an equally great tool. I use it all the time when I'm making applesauce, when I'm mashing bananas, just about anything. It comes into a paste really quickly. I like it a little chunky, so I'm gonna probably let it go. And then I'm going to swap to a rubber spatula, and this is going to be what I use for the entire time. We have our mixture. This is the 1/4 cup of almond milk with a 1/2 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. I'm gonna add that in. And then I'm going to add in a 1/3 cup of whatever neutral oil you want. All olive oil will probably be a little bitter, but a combo of anything neutral is good. A 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. I'm gonna stir that up. And then this is kind of like our wet ingredients. And then you can flavor this how you would like. I'm going to follow the recipe and use vanilla. But the issue is that some people run out of vanilla, they don't have vanilla, so you can kind of use whatever you'd like. This would be great with almond extract. This would be great with, like, if you happen to have a random vanilla bean to scrape and use the seeds. That'd be really yummy. And we're going to stir this up, and then this is gonna kind of be the basis of our banana bread that we are then going to add in our dry ingredients, our beautiful Driscoll's Blackberries, and then get it into the oven. Like, this is going to be a super easy, super straightforward, like, breakfast treat, which is kind of the only way that I'm thinking about cooking right now. We have a teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 3/4 cup of, you can use, the recipe calls for spelt flour. You could swap in all-purpose flour, but then you would drop down the almond milk just a little bit. I'm using bread flour today because that's what I have on hand, and I find that because it has a bit of a higher content of protein, I think it's super great in this recipe. Especially for a vegan bread where you don't necessarily have eggs for structure, something with a higher protein content will give a little bit more structure to your bread. And then salt. You always need salt. The recipe calls for an 1/8 teaspoon. I'm using a full teaspoon because that is just like the salt fiend in me. I always need that, but you can totally use whatever is good for you. So I'm just gonna add them all in. I'm stirring this together. You don't wanna overwork it, or else you'll have a tough bread, but it's gonna come together super quickly. And it will look, because you have to remember that you have these bananas that are a bit chunky for your mash, it's not going to be completely smooth. So don't think that you have chunks of flour, that's chunks of banana. And then as soon as this is ready, we are going to get this into a loaf pan that I've greased up, and then we're going to pop it in the oven. No streaks of flour, that's the main thing that you want to make sure that's not there. Remember, this is vegan, so you can try the dough. I'm gonna reserve some of my Driscoll's Blackberries. Again, I'm using a 6-ounce container. Take a look at how gorgeous they are. I'm gonna reserve some to go on top just because I think it's really pretty to have it there, but most of them are just gonna get folded in. You wanna do this at the very, very end because berries, like especially like super ripe, sun-ripened berries are going to be delicate and you do not wanna mash them into your batter. You wanna just fold them into the batter gently. I'm going to reserve that many. Gently fold. All right, this is going to go straight into our loaf pan. I'm going to smooth this here. We want it to bake evenly. And again, it has a leavener, so it's gonna puff up in the center, so you don't need to worry about that. And now we have our last banana. I'm going to slice my banana, and then I'm going to make a little design here. So I'm gonna press in one this way, so you can see. Beautiful. And then one. Then we are going to garnish with our remaining berries. This is what we have here. This is our beautiful banana bread. You could pop this in to the oven just as so, but what you can do is take any sugar you have and sprinkle some on top of the bananas. I'm going to do is take a little sprinkle, think about like a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, and just garnish the bananas with them, and that will help them caramelize in the oven and stay nice and shiny. We have our Blackberry banana bread. I'm gonna pop this into a 375-degree oven for about 45 minutes. Maybe it can go up to an hour depending on how juicy your fruit is, because that's obviously going to leach into the batter. So you wanna kind of give it a good test with a either a toothpick or if you have a cake tester, just to make sure it comes out clean. Came together so quickly, so easily. Bake, kind of take this time, use it as a way to get some comfort at home, cook for whoever's around you, and at the end of the day, you're going to find nourishment not only in eating, but in spending so much time kind of pouring your heart into delicious recipes. So if you want this recipe, again, you could head to Driscolls.com. Thank you so much to Driscoll's Berries. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.